At what age are you supposed to have it all figured out? Because I want to know, genuinely, at what age is a man supposed to have it all together? Because I see it everywhere. Young men, 22, 26, 30, 35, sitting there thinking something is wrong with them because they don't have it figured out. They look around and think everyone else has the blueprint, and they missed it. They feel behind, they feel lost, they feel like failures. Anxiety building every year because the gap between where they are and where they think they should be keeps getting wider. But here is the truth nobody tells you. You are not supposed to have it together. You are not expected to have it together. Not at 26, not at 36, not even at 46. Anybody who looks at you at 27 and says, "What's wrong with you? How come you don't have everything figured out?" that person is a fool. Knowledge and experience and wisdom take time. Wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from living. And if you haven't lived long enough to have a broad enough portfolio of experience, you cannot expect to have the wisdom that comes from it. Society sold you a lie. Movies sold you a lie. You watch an hour-and-a-half movie, and within that hour and a half, a person goes from a goofed-up teenager to someone who's settled and has it all going on. They get the job, they put their childhood bully in his place, they get the girl, fade to black, and you're left imagining the rest of their perfect life. But the last thing you saw was them having it together, so that's what sticks. Then you turn off the TV, watch the news, and those same actors show up again and again, making stupid mistakes because they don't have it together either. Nobody does. A pine tree grows and matures very fast. An oak tree grows and matures very, very slow. But which one lasts longer? Which one is stronger? Which one shelters more life? Which one, when it's cut down, is actually worth something? Nobody goes out and spends extra money on pine furniture. They want oak. You are not pine. Stop trying to grow like one. And I want to tell you something from experience. When I was in Papua New Guinea, I got a call on the radio from some folks in another village. They said, "Hey, will you come up here for a week?" And I said, "Sure." So I grabbed my backpack and we headed out. And I had never been over there before. I did not know what the trip consisted of. We hiked and hiked and hiked, crossed a major rushing river on bamboo poles and rocks, and then we hit the hills. And you climb and you climb, and you can see the top. And you get to the top, and what do you see? Another hill. Keep going. And I got tired, I got exhausted, because I didn't plan right, I didn't eat right that morning. I didn't know what I had ahead of me. And I knew I had a long way to go, so I stopped. I sat down for about 5 minutes, because if I didn't stop and sit down, I was going to stop and fall down. And I would rest, catch my breath, get up, go a little more, stop again, sit down again. And it got to the point where I thought, I am never going to reach the top. It's too far, it's hopeless. But I kept going. I would stop, let the quivering in my leg muscles settle down, catch my breath, and keep going. And I made it all the way into that village that evening. And when I got there, I took my shoes off, took my socks off, sat down, and I rested for good. But I did not rest for good until I got to my destination. The point is, I had to rest along the way, or I was never going to get there. And that is exactly what life is. You are climbing, and you are tired, and sometimes you look up and all you see is another hill. That does not mean you are failing, that means you are on the path. Now let me tell you where most people get it wrong with rest. The word vacation comes from the word vacate, and to vacate means to leave. Not just leave your job for a period of time, but leave the stress. But what do people do? They plan weeks in advance. They're doing plane tickets. They're doing Disney World tickets. They've got to catch flights, connecting flights. They've got all these little kids and all the luggage. They get to the hotel. They've got to be up by a certain time, round up the kids, get down to the park, go through the rides, do this, do that. And by the time they get back to work, they're more exhausted than when they left. That is not resting. That is entertainment with a deadline. Resting does not mean entertainment, it means resting. And this applies to everything. Maybe you and your spouse are exhausted. Maybe the marriage situation is wearing you out. And instead of quitting and turning around, maybe you just need a rest. Not a breakup, not a separation, just a rest. Maybe it's, honey, why don't you go visit your sister for a week? We won't text, we won't call. Let's just take a break with the full understanding that we are resting in order to come back and continue on this journey together. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mum. You've got 3 kids. You've been doing this for 20 years and it is starting to get to you. Maybe you need to take those children to someone you love and trust. Take 4 or 5 days with your husband and just rest from what is exhausting you. Rest with the understanding that after you have rested, you will come back and pick up the work and carry on. You're a young couple and you're going through some things and you're thinking, we must be the worst couple in the world. We must be the worst married folks out there. We just don't have it figured out. Of course you don't have it figured out. When you hit 30 years of marriage, you still won't have it all figured out. You just take it as it comes and you learn and you mature and you grow and it takes time. But you will not get there if you quit. Nobody bursts from their mother's womb ready for the world. Nobody bursts from their mother's womb aged and mature and wise. I am 55 years old and I am just now starting to get a little bit figured out. Just now. And I'm not saying I'm wise, I'm just saying that happened. And that's why that happened. So maybe we ought not do that. That's about as deep as my wisdom goes. Think about a baby learning to walk. 14 months old, just in a diaper, going across the kitchen floor to mama. Little fat feet, little fat thighs, wobbling. And they lose their balance, arms out, bubble butt, tubby tummy, big diaper in the back. They are not balanced. And bam, they fall flat on their butt and they look shocked and their face screws up and they start crying bloody murder. That is the worst thing that has ever happened to them in their life. It is a disaster of apocalyptic proportions because it is all they have ever known. And that is exactly where you are. You just went through a breakup and it's the worst thing you've ever been through, a disaster of apocalyptic proportions, because you haven't had the time and the experience yet to develop worse, to turn around and look at that in relation to the realities of a long life. One day you're going to look back and say, that really wasn't such a disaster, and in fact, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. You lost your job, 4 years of college to get the degree to get that job. You got the job and then layoffs happened. And now you're sitting there thinking your life is in shambles at your feet. No, it is not. No, it is not. It is not. Those who go to college, get out of college, get a job, stay in that job until they retire, then retire and buy property down in Florida, that is an anomaly. That is not normal. It happens, but it is an anomaly. And most of those people, they might be really good people, but they don't have cool stories to tell. And you don't get wisdom past a certain point by living that life. 2 or 3 years ago, I made a whole series of really, really bad decisions. Really bad decisions. And it brought me to the point at over 50 where I was sitting there saying, I don't have it together. I'm not mature. I'm not growing. I'm not the man I'm supposed to be. And I started working on it. And the man I am today, The father I would be today if children were to come along, that is not the man I was before, and that is not the father I could have been before. A blade does not become strong, it does not become tempered until it has been through the fire, and not just once, several times, and there is a lot of hammer work that has to take place. And then you go back in the forge again, and it's hot, and it melts you down, and you're uncomfortable. And then life pulls you out and puts you on the anvil and hammers on you some more, and you're sitting there saying, "Am I done yet? Am I a sword for the ages?" No, no, you are not. You are not done yet. So stop being so hard on yourself. You cannot see all the cards in your hand yet. And that is not saying the cards aren't there. It is just that you haven't matured enough to see them. And there will come a time you keep going and you keep learning and you keep growing, that one day you will look down and the card you needed was there, and it has been there all along. But that is not going to come for a while. You do not get stronger hiking downhill. Nobody ever has. The climb is the thing that builds you. Not behind, becoming. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not a failure. You are just not finished. And the only way you don't get there is if you quit. And let me share something with you, because I get asked this all the time. What do I actually do? Where do I start? Here is the simplest thing I have ever found, and I mean the simplest. 5 minutes a day. 3 in the morning, 2 at night. That is it. That is the whole thing. I know how that sounds. I know it sounds too small to matter. But I have watched it change men who thought they were too far gone. Men who had been hard on themselves for so long, they forgot what it felt like to wake up without that weight on their chest. 5 minutes a day, and something starts to shift in the second week that you cannot explain to anyone who has not done it. There is a specific journal I use. It walks you through it, takes the thinking out of it. You just sit down, open the page, and the page does the rest. I am not going to break it down for you here, because honestly, it would not mean anything until you hold it in your hands and actually do it. The link is in the description below. Go get it. Start tomorrow morning, not Monday, tomorrow. You have given everyone else so much of your time. Give yourself 5 minutes. So just chill. Embrace the process. Embrace the journey. Go hunting, go fishing, get a mountain bike, go hiking, go to the gym, hang out around a barbecue with friends, and just act silly and be your age. Be 26 at 26. Stop trying to be 56. It is not expected, and it is a burden you do not have to carry. If you will patiently embrace the process, then by the time you get up in years, you can be a man that you are proud of. Not behind, becoming. And the only way you don't get there is if you stop climbing.